She walks into the room. No one looks. No one claps. No one calls her name. She's not part of the circle. She's not tagged in posts. She's not on their invite lists. And still, she walks with her head high. Because she's not a follower. She's not desperate. She's not friendless. She's focused. She is the kind of woman who walks alone, not because no one chose her, but because she chose herself. Chapter 1. Why she's alone. They never really saw her. Oh, she was there. She was in the group chats. She was in the crowd. She laughed when they laughed. She played along. She showed up. She supported. But when she started asking questions, when she started growing, when she stopped gossiping, when she wanted silence instead of chaos, they faded. The women she called sisters went silent. The ones who promised loyalty disappeared. Why? Because her growth made them uncomfortable. People don't hate you. They hate themselves when they see you becoming something they never had the courage to be. Denzel Washington. And so, she stopped begging. She stopped chasing. She started walking alone. Chapter 2, the betrayal nobody talks about. Friendship breakups hurt worse than romantic ones. Why? Because you expect loyalty. Because you shared secrets. Because they were supposed to stay when the rest of the world walked out. But real life? The same women she celebrated, laughed with, lifted up, became her biggest haters, started whispering, started rolling eyes, started watching her page but not clapping anymore. Why? Because she chose a path they couldn't walk. Because she stopped needing their approval. And that broke the silent contract of comfort they built together. Chapter 3. She stopped playing small. When a woman chooses silence over drama, purpose over popularity, discipline over distractions, she becomes dangerous. They can't predict her. They can't control her. They can't label her. So they leave. But what they didn't realize is she didn't lose them. She found herself. She found time to read, to heal, to grow, to invest in herself, to finally listen to her own voice instead of the crowd. Chapter 4. Realizing her peace is priceless. She noticed something. After they left, the noise stopped. So did the overthinking, the fake support, the constant comparison, the anxiety of not being enough. In their absence, she found peace. The kind of peace that can't be bought, that can't be faked, that can't be shared with people who don't even clap when you win. Peace became her new addiction. And once you taste that, you stop settling for chaos, even if it comes with company. Chapter 5. Solitude sharpened her mind. You grow faster when you're alone. There's no noise, no expectations, no one to impress, just you. And the truth. She faced the mirror. She owned her flaws. She fixed her patterns. She built a routine. Early mornings, focused nights, books over parties, prayer over drama, meditation over gossip. She didn't become cold. She became clear. Chapter 6. The shift they didn't see coming. While they were posting selfies, she was building. While they were chasing likes, she was chasing purpose. While they were distracted, she was developing. One day they'll notice. They'll say she changed. No, she evolved. Because the woman with no friends became the woman with no limits. Chapter 7. Alone but not lonely. There's a big difference between being alone and being lonely. Loneliness is a state of lack. Aloneness is a state of strength. She chose to be alone, not because she couldn't find people, but because she refused to shrink for them. She didn't want to be invited to tables where gossip was served as connection. She didn't want to spend weekends pretending to belong, so she built her own table, even if she sat there alone. And slowly, she attracted others like her. Focused, strong, driven, silent warriors. Not friends, family by frequency. Chapter 8. Denzel's mindset in her walk. She watched Denzel's speeches. She felt seen. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. That hit her soul. She wasn't afraid of hardship. She wasn't afraid of alone. She feared only one thing, wasting her life. And so she kept walking. Head high, faith strong, boundaries tight, vision clear. She knew the path might be empty now, but one day it would lead to legacy. Chapter 9. She became what they could never understand. They still don't get her. She doesn't answer texts fast. She doesn't show up at every event. She doesn't fake smiles. Why? Because she's busy building her future. She's doing the work in silence. And when she shows up, she'll make noise without saying a word. The woman with no friends is the woman who built herself from the ground up. No praise, no help, no safety net. Just grit, grace, and God. Chapter 10. Why Part 1 was necessary. This is her foundation. Before the success, before the claps, before the recognition, she had to go through the silence, the tears, the nights no one saw. But this was the soil where she planted herself. And now, she's ready to bloom, alone, unafraid, unstoppable. Part 2. Power in solitude, rising without support. Chapter 11. The work she does when no one watches. Success isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the dark, in quiet rooms, behind closed doors, before sunrise. She wakes up early. No one tells her to, no one claps, no one sees it, but she shows up. She does the work not for Instagram, not for applause, not to prove anything to anyone. She does it because she knows who she's becoming. She's building her name on discipline, not validation. Don't confuse movement with progress. You can run in place and not get anywhere. Denzel Washington. While others are loud and directionless, she's quiet and focused. That's the difference. And that's why she'll win. Chapter 12. The beauty of becoming. She's not where she wants to be, but she's not where she was. That in between, that's where most people quit. That's where the pain of loneliness screams the loudest. But she doesn't flinch. Because she sees what no one else sees. She sees the woman she's becoming. Stronger, wiser, sharper. Every step forward, even the smallest one, is proof. She's not stuck. She's evolving, and she won't stop. Chapter 13. The cost of peace. Being alone costs a lot, but chaos costs more. Peace isn't free. It requires boundaries. It requires letting people down. It requires walking away from familiar faces and toxic comforts. She paid that price, and now she's rich in clarity. She doesn't need to be everywhere. She doesn't chase connections. She attracts alignment. Her silence isn't emptiness. It's full of growth. Chapter 14. The lessons she learned alone. When you're alone, you start learning truths that noise covers up. She learned that not everyone clapping is happy for you. She learned that the loudest in the room are usually the most insecure. She learned that being misunderstood is the price of being authentic. But most importantly, she learned she doesn't need anyone's permission to live fully. She doesn't ask anymore. She doesn't wait for support. She moves. With faith, with discipline, with fire. Chapter 15. No apologies for her power. She used to shrink to make others comfortable. Now, she stands tall, even if it makes others uncomfortable. She's done apologizing for her standards, done apologizing for walking away, done apologizing for being too much. Because she's not too much, they were just never enough. You pray for rain, you gotta deal with the mud too. That's a part of it. Denzel Washington. She prayed for purpose, and it came with pain, but it also came with power, and she's owning every bit of it. Chapter 16. When silence becomes strategy. Now she moves in silence, not because she's hiding, but because she's building. She doesn't announce dreams. She executes them. She doesn't need validation. She's too busy creating results. Her silence is not weakness. It's strategy. It's peace. It's power. Let them wonder. Let them watch. She'll show them when it's done. Chapter 17. What she gained when they left. They left. Good. They freed up space. Now her energy isn't wasted. Her time isn't drained. Her focus isn't split. They took their fake love. She found real peace. They stopped checking in. She started checking on herself. They stopped inviting her. She started investing in herself. She doesn't want them back. Not because she's bitter, because she's better. Chapter 18. Her boundaries are now bulletproof. Before, she let things slide. Let people walk over her. Let toxic slide in as normal. Now, no more. Her time is guarded. Her energy is protected. Her soul is not available for rent. You either come correct or not at all. Because when you spend enough time alone, you realize you don't need chaos disguised as connection. Chapter 19. Faith over fear. There were days she wanted to give up, nights she cried silently, moments she questioned everything. But every time she thought about quitting, she remembered her purpose. She remembered why she started, and she got up again, because faith doesn't eliminate fear, it overcomes it. She walks with faith now, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Chapter 20. The glow that comes from within. She used to look for validation. Now she looks in the mirror and smiles. She doesn't need filters or fake friends or curated perfection. She's glowing, not because of makeup, but because of mindset. She loves who she's becoming. And that glow, that's real, that's earned, that's untouchable. Part 3, Becoming Untouchable, Her Final Rise. Chapter 21. From Isolation to Identity. She was once known as the quiet one, the girl who kept to herself, the woman they said was too private, too reserved, too distant. But she wasn't lost. She was listening, learning, leveling up. Every moment in isolation refined her identity. Every lonely night sharpened her purpose. Now she knows who she is, and no one can take that away. Not rejection, not rumors, not the ones who left. Her identity is rooted in truth, and truth doesn't shake. Chapter 22, Moving Without Noise. They keep looking for signs. Is she dating someone now? Did she get a new job? Did she move? No posts. No announcements. No explanations. Because she doesn't perform her life. She lives it. And when she does show up, she doesn't have to prove anything. Her presence speaks louder than posts ever could. Success doesn't have to be shouted. Let your work make the noise. Inspired by Denzel Washington. Chapter 23. Her voice has power now. Before, she stayed quiet to keep peace. Now she speaks when it matters, and when she speaks, people listen. Because her words are backed by experience, pain, growth, clarity. She doesn't speak for approval. She speaks from conviction. And when she stays silent, that's power too. Because her silence isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Chapter 24. She walks in purpose. She doesn't walk to impress. She walks in purpose. Every step is intentional. Every choice is rooted in alignment. She turned her setbacks into strategy, her pain into purpose, her solitude into power. She no longer asks, "Why me?" Now she says, "Watch me." Chapter 25. The woman she became. She became the type of woman who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't perform. She became the woman who makes her own rules, creates her own lane, and keeps moving regardless of who supports her. The woman they counted out? She's the one they talk about now. The one they tried to ignore, she's now the blueprint. Chapter 26. The power of a woman with nothing to lose. She's no longer scared of losing people, because she already lost those who never truly saw her. She's no longer afraid of judgment, because she's faced worse in silence. Now, she moves like a woman with nothing to prove and nothing to lose. And that's when she became unstoppable. Chapter 27. Legacy over likes. She used to want to be liked. Now she wants to be remembered. Not for being popular, but for being powerful, for making people feel seen, for showing what grace under fire looks like, for being the woman who rose quietly and left impact loudly. She's building legacy, and that never goes out of style. Chapter 28. They still don't understand her. They think she's cold. She's not. She's healed. They think she's arrogant. She's not. She's aware. They think she's alone. She's not. She's aligned. They still don't get her, and they probably never will. But that's the price of walking your own path, of becoming what they never imagined. Chapter 29. Her final evolution. She evolved in silence. She rose in private. She healed in the dark. Now she walks with fire in her eyes, with purpose in her chest, with God in her steps. She doesn't need fixing. She doesn't need saving. She doesn't need attention. She is whole. She is wise. She is a force. And nothing will stop her now. Chapter 30. The mic drop moment. Final ending. So to every woman walking alone, to every soul who feels like nobody understands, remember this. You don't need a crowd to find your crown. You don't need friends to find your fire. You don't need applause to prove your worth. You are the table. You are the light. You are the movement. Don't just make a living, make a difference. Denzel Washington. And you will, because you already are. Walk tall, walk true, walk alone if you must, but keep walking. Because one day the world will look back and say, that woman with no friends, she built an empire.